That's crazy, is it? What's the most common thing gods did in the old stories? They ran around falling in love with humans and having kids with them. Do you think they've changed their habits in the last few millennia? But those were just, I almost said myths again. Then I remembered Chiron's warning that in 2,000 years I might be considered a myth. But if all the kids here are half-gods, demigods, Annabeth said. That's the official term, or half-bloods. Who's your dad? Her hands tightened around the pier railing. I got the feeling I just trespassed on a sensitive subject. My dad is a professor at West Point, she said. I hadn't seen him since I was very small. He teaches American history. He's human? What, you assume it has to be a male god who finds a human female attractive? How sexist is that? Who's your mom? Cabin 6? Meaning? Annabeth straightened. Athena, goddess of wisdom and battle. Okay, I thought, why not? And my dad? Undetermined, Annabeth said. Like I told you before, nobody knows. Except my mother, she knew. Maybe not, Percy. Gods don't always reveal their identities. My dad would have. He loved her. Annabeth gave me a cautious look. She didn't want to burst my bubble. Maybe you're right. Maybe you'll send a sign. That's the only way to know for sure. Your father has to send you a sign claiming that you're his son. Sometimes it happens. You mean sometimes it doesn't? Annabeth ran her palm around the rail. The gods are busy. They have a lot of kids, and they don't always... Well, sometimes they don't care about us, Percy. They ignore us. I thought about some of the kids I'd seen in Herbie's cabin. Teenagers who looked sullen and depressed, as if they were waiting for a call that would never come. I'd known kids like that at Yancey Academy, shuffled off to boarding school by rich parents who didn't have the time to deal with them. But God should behave better. So, I'm stuck here, I said. Is that it for the rest of my life? It depends, Annabeth said. Some campers only stay the summer. If you're a child of Aphrodite or Demeter, you're probably not a real powerful force. The monsters might ignore you. So you can get on and get by with a few months of summer training and live in the mortal world for the rest of the year. But for some of us, it's too dangerous to leave. We're year-rounders. In a mortal world, we attract monsters. They sense us. They come to challenge us. Most of the time, they'll ignore us even until we're old enough to cause trouble. About 10 or 11 years old. But after that, most demigods either make their way here or they get killed off. A few manage to survive in the outside world and become famous. Believe me, if I told you their names, you'd know them. Some of them don't even realize they're demigods, but very, very few are like that. So monsters can't come in here? Annabeth shook her head. Not unless they're intentionally stalked in the woods or specifically summoned by somebody inside. Why would anybody want to summon a monster? Practice fights? Practical jokes? Practical jokes? The point is, the borders are sealed up to keep mortals and monsters out. From the outside, mortals look onto the valley and see nothing unusual but a strawberry farm. So, you're a year-rounder? Annabeth nodded. From under the collar of her t-shirt, she pulled out a leather necklace with 5 clay beads on different colors. It was just like Luke's, except for Annabeth's also had a big gold ring strung around it, like a college ring. I've been here since I was 11, she said. Every August, on the last day of summer, you get a bead for surviving another year. I've been here longer than most of the counselors, and they're all in college. Why did you come so young? She twisted the ring on her necklace. None of your business. Oh, I stood there for a minute, uncomfortable. So I could just walk out of here right now if I wanted to? That would be suicide, but you could, with Mr. D's or Chiron's permission. But they wouldn't give you permission until the end of the summer session unless you're granted a quest. But that hardly ever happens. The last time, her voice trailed off, but I can tell from her tone that the last time hadn't gone well. Back in the sick room, I said, when you were feeding me all that stuff, Ambrosia? Yeah? You asked me something about the summer solstice. Annabeth's shoulders tensed. So you do know something. Well, no. Back at my old school, I overheard Grover and Chiron talking about it. Grover mentioned the summer solstice. He said something like we didn't have much time because of the deadline. What did that mean? She clenched her fists. I wish I knew. Chiron and the Satyrs, they know, but they won't tell me. Something is wrong in Olympus. Something pretty major. Last time I was there, everything seemed so normal. You've been to Olympus? Some of us year-rounders, like Luke and Clarice and I and a few others, we took a field trip during the winter solstice. And that's when the gods have their big annual council. But how did you get there? The Long Island Railroad, of course. You get off the Penn Station. The Empire State Building, special elevator to the 600th floor. She looked at me like she was sure I must have known that already. You are a New Yorker, right? Sure. As far as I knew, there were 102 floors in the Empire State Building, but I decided not to point that out. Right after we visited, Annabeth continued, the weather got weird, as if the gods started fighting. A couple of times since, I've overheard satyrs talking. The best I can figure out is that something important was stolen, and if it isn't returned by summer solstice, there's going to be trouble. When you came, I was hoping... I mean, Athena can get along with just about anybody, except for Ares. And then, of course, she's got a rivalry with Poseidon. But I mean, aside from that, I thought we could work together. I thought you might know something.